Welcome everyone who's just joining us. We have people who are coming. Wonderful to have you all here joining us from your corners of the world. If you would kindly just rename yourself so that we can see your organization or your network, that would be amazing, just for the purpose of interacting with one another. And then if you would also be maybe kind enough to drop on chat which country are you calling us from. I myself am in Nairobi, Kenya. It's 6 sharp PM here, so the sun has just gone down, having wonderful weather. It's a bit cold, but nothing too cold. Where are the rest of you from? Tibet, where are you joining us from?
Normally I'm in Oakland, California, but right now I'm visiting my family on the East Coast of the US in Massachusetts.
Wonderful, wonderful. How about you, Ana?
Hi, I'm coming in from Seattle, Washington.
How's the weather like there?
It's so nice right now. You almost forget that it's horrible half the year.
Really wonderful to have you here with us. Love the chats that are coming. Roberto, Mexico. What are you seeing outside your window, Bruce?
A gorgeous Colorado spring day.
Nice. Nadia, lovely to see you again today. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you too. Well, as we continue waiting for others to join us, I'll just ask us to go to this link and answer some of the questions that are there to kick us off. I have about 7 questions for you. If you have any issues joining, just let me know. There's also a code as well that, let me just share a QR code. Greetings, everyone. We're just filling out a Mentimeter poll over here. Kindly click on the link in the chat. If you're having any issue joining it, there's the QR code here on that I'm sharing on my screen. You can scan it as well. Welcome, welcome everyone. Okay. I'll just go ahead and see some of the results that have come in. So the first question we are asking is, sorry. So where are you calling from? So many of us are coming from North America, wonderful. We have Europe there as well. Which island is this that I'm pointing at? Who's there? Can you just, please just open your mic and tell us where exactly this is?
That's Madeira.
Curious. Or is that a mistake?
No, that's Madeira.
Ah, wonderful, wonderful.
It's probably a little bit further up. I'm bad with geography, but.
Nice, nice, interesting. Thank you. Okay. When you hear network platforms, what comes to your mind? Different answers. People making change together, data. What's up with the user data? I think of things like Slack or other user-centric platforms for database storage and collaboration. Loving the answers. What would you like to take away from our time together? Quality time and questions. Definitely gonna do that. Learning about available tools. You're definitely in the right place. Connecting. That's definitely gonna happen. And then finally, today, would you rather dance or sing? Why does everyone prefer to dance over singing? I just think that it's much, much harder, and you're gonna hold you to it in the next few minutes. So I may not be able to tell who exactly chose dance, but I'll find a way to know. So anyway, Thank you for participating in that small exercise. So what I'll do now is, I know some of you already know what the network festival is all about. Well, for the rest of us, it's something that this might be the first session that we are attending. So I'll just go ahead and give us a little bit of a sneak peek into what exactly it's all about. So just allow me to share my screen again. Sorry, just having some
entry bar, yeah.
I'm having some technical issues over here. So here we are. It's just a 2-minute video that will give more insight to the network.
Positivity and encouragement. People can understand each other's interests, find their intersections, and work together on what matters to all of them.
For so many times, networks are underfunded.
Despite that norm, if you want to change the world, throw a better party. Addressing complex issues requires radically changing the way we work together.
We believe networks are incredible, invisible forces with the potential to reshape our world.
Thousands exist around the globe. They drive deep change across education, jobs, equity, climate, agriculture, biodiversity, migration, health, and so on.
There are so many community activities, so many local ecosystems, so many alumni associations.
Networks are very powerful in creating a sense of belonging and also connection.
The cross-pollination of energy, of positivity, and encouragement. People can understand each other's interests, find their intersections, and work together on what matters to all of them.
For so many times, networks are underfunded.
Despite the norm-breaking approaches to social issues, they're highly misunderstood. For most, how to do this amazing work is a little bit of a mystery.
And we need to change that.
There's an incredible wealth of knowledge and lived experience on how networks can and do change our world. That's why across the month of May 2023, we will bring together thousands of network leaders, funders, leaders, companies, and governments to deepen our understanding of how to drive social change through networks.
To learn together, to share together.
Try out new practices, new ideas.
And we will play. Some of the most impactful social change happens when people have fun together.
We need to knowledge and the collaborative power to that will make our world a better place.
We'd love you to join us. Thank you.
See you there.
So there we are. That was a little bit of an intro on what exactly the festival is all about. So right now I'll just ask Carolina to just take it from here. Sorry, I'm facing so much technical issue on my side. Don't worry about that. So Carolina, I'll hand it over to you to introduce the panel to us and to kick us off.
Okay, thank you so much, Beverly. So to start, we have 5 different speakers and we have 5 different platforms joining today that we can play with. And I'm going to introduce our presenters as we go through the session. So the first platform that we're going to be looking at is Superhive. And this platform was co-founded by Margaux Pelen, who is currently leading all the community, business, and operations. And she was previously serving as Chief Operating Officer of Code Control, a Berlin-based startup crafting the future of work. And without further ado, Margaux, if you're ready, the floor is yours. Show us what exciting things Superhive can do.
Great. Thank you so much, Carolina, and thanks for Beverly to putting us a bit in the mood of connecting people and ideas. It's actually, I think, quite natural for me to get started, as our platform is a bit of a non-platform in the sense that the whole Superhive experience is running directly from your inbox. So let me actually share a few slides with you, and I will actually also share just the whole deck once we are done with the presentation. So Yes. So yeah, so it's a little like presentation to go through the concept. I know we have a couple of minutes only, but then if you have to have, if you want to, run again through the demo, there is also a link to be able to see it. So what we do, so Superhive is basically a smart newsletter, and we like to call it the newsletter that writes itself, because what we do is we basically build a newsletter that aggregates all the contents, depending on what your members needs. So let's say and I will then do a little demo, but let's say you have, 500 community members who all have ask and offers in the world. We basically gather this content directly from the inbox, let them type it, and then assemble the newsletter in no time. So it's really as simple as an email and as powerful as an introduction. My name is Margaux. As Carolina was saying, I'm one of the co-founders. And before that, I've been building communities. I've been myself very active part of communities. And the whole idea is actually that made Superhive emerge was Sandbox, which is a community of 1,500 change makers in the world. And what happened with Sandbox is that we had this very distributed network of 1,500 super engaged entrepreneurs. And we had both a local chapter that was working really well by WhatsApp and small local groups, but we didn't have really a way to connect members whenever they were from different hubs. So we built Superhive, but we didn't want to ask the community to go on another platform, as we had already started with Facebook. But the kind of hype of Facebook, and as we know, there's obviously a data issue, but the whole hype around it was a bit gone, and so we didn't have the critical mass anymore. We also tried Slack, we tried Discord, but whenever we were trying this platform, there was a bit of a pushback. And when we started playing with Superhive, we actually got a lot of tractions, and especially when we added this cadence of sending it every week, we kind of saw that members were actually complaining when it was not coming out. And up to today, I think we've had we actually recently celebrated our 2,500 posts. So connecting lots of different members in no time, because the whole connection part is happening in the background automatically. So why Superhive? As I was telling you, there is a connection, and also we wanted to make sure that the tool can be running without any effort for people leading these communities. So how it works, I will actually show you. So I will show you a little demo now. Can you see the tab with the Gmail? Yes?
Yes.
It'll sum up if you do. Great, cool, thanks. So this is, for example, me receiving a Superhive newsletter from Ben. So I'm part of this community called the Secret Baguette Society. I can see here that I have this part that sent that also explain me what Superhive is. Here I have a little summary. So this week there is 2 posts. The first one is Amy, who's offering a free ticket to London Food Festival. Actually, my connection is a bit slow because the magic of it is that I can answer directly with an email. Yeah, I'm actually co-working space in France that I didn't test before. So that might be the breaking point of the pitch. And as we know, there is always something happening during live pitches. Okay, well, so for example, is responsive in the web, and you automatically log it. So yes, so this is what you see directly in your email when the connection is strong enough. But so I basically have 2 different posts here. I have one post from John, who's looking for the best taco in Mexico because it's a community for lovers of food, and Amy, who's offering a free ticket to London Food Festival. Let's say that I'm very interested by this opportunity. I can type in directly from the email. So great tickets. So hi, Amy, lovely to hear. I'm interested. And then I click on reply, and here what happens is that without leaving my inbox, I'm automatically put in touch with Amy. And let's say that I got super inspired, by this community update. I also want to create my own content, and I'm sharing, for example, the top 50 bakeries in France. So here I can type my blurb and say, hey guys, hey girls, I've been crafting this listing of 50 top bakeries. I'd love to share it with you. Here is a link. So here I click on share the link, and your job basically as a community member is done. So then I can go to, so now I'm taking, I am taking the hat of the community builder. So I have now 6, so here I connect on my little platform. I can see this post that I just created here from the bottom of the email that you will recognize. And let's say that I'm actually coming to the point where I want to craft my next newsletter. Here I have 6 posts. I click on create newsletter draft. I can see the content here. I click on continue, and my newsletter is basically ready to go with all the contents that was shared by different community members. So here you can see like the post that I created from my inbox about a minute ago. So Margaux Pelen is sharing the top 50 bakers in France, but I can always also see like the content pieces that were shared previously by the different community members. So I can send myself a preview. So here, or to send it to myself, and you basically, we can even share it for you to see. This is basically done. So now I just share the next newsletter. As you could see, it really took no time. I also have on platform the possibility to also see what members have been talking about. So in the blocks, you will see all the posts that were created by members, but also some of the elements of answer. So we take just the first number, like the first answer, to kind of create collectively this, like, basically community brain. In the members, you also have the list of different community members, which you can add either manually as a bulk, or you can also share like a joint page that's individual to your community. So as you can see, we're still in beta. There is about 175 communities that are signed up now. But the product is working already really well, and we already see like lots of engagement from community who basically switched their regular newsletter that took a lot of time to write and that few people were actually reading, to turning it into this community generated newsletter. So if I recap from the video what you can do to use Superhive. So first you collect members ask and offer directly from the inbox with this little demo that I did. Then you connect, like you basically turn all those different blocks into a newsletter that lands into your members update, like inbox, sorry. And then whenever someone answers, they directly put in touch by email. So it also really cuts the work of community leaders, as there is no time to do this manual introduction. And then once the newsletter is sent and there is some action, you can actually see on the homepage some metrics. So for now, what we're looking at are, like the response rates, the average responses per post, the number of activated users. And for this, we don't only look at people who publish content, but we also look at people who connect and who show up for other members, because this notion of showing up is, as we know, pretty fundamental to it when it comes to community building. And yeah, we already have, like, we've been working with like academics, lots of nonprofits, lots of social entrepreneurship also organization, as well as companies who have like specific communities of practice. So some benefits to recap. Also, it's a newsletter that works a bit when you sleep, because the members are actually creating the content for you. You don't need to create another account for your members, which has been quite powerful, and I think is also like a real unique selling proposition in this sense. And you can also make your super users emerge pretty quickly, as you saw, who's been posting content but also responding. Because it's so seamless, we also see that there is 90% of members who actually answer each other in like after onboarding. And the average number of posts is about 2.5, especially this is data that we've seen through Sandbox's first community. So yeah, I also don't want to overgo with the time, but basically if you have any questions, reach out either to me, margaux@superhive.is, or just look at superhive.is/preview, or I'm obviously going to stick around for the little demo sessions. And I will also be sharing the presentation in the chat. Thank you.
Hey, I see some reactions.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, Carolina. How is everyone feeling about that? Post your emojis on the chat. We'd love to see them. or your comments. If you have any questions for her as well, this is your chance to do so. Just post them on chat, post your reactions, thumbs up, whatever, celebration, like to see them all. And as we do that, I'll just ask Carolina to introduce our next person.
Dropped off the session there for a second. I don't know what happened, but I'm assuming, Beverly, that you sent the conversation back to me. Okay, so perfect. So next we have Emil Vincentz, who is going to show us Actor. And Emil is a co-founder of Actor, who is currently a non-profit, and they're developing a secure and decentralized organizing tool that actually makes it possible for civil society organizations to effectively and securely organize. And the mission really is to provide a trusted digital space, both for organizations and networks to coordinate collective action, also drive engagement and create systemic change. And there is really a focus on supporting civil society in the global south. So Emil, welcome. And yes, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Carolina. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for bringing me here. It was really cool to see the demo. Thanks, Margaux. So let me just share my screen with you. I'm not gonna sort of like compare like kind of with Superhive, because I think it's very different use cases. So to kind of just dive into it, I hope you can see my screen. Great to get a thumbs up. So this is basically the question that we have started out with Actor is like really like what is the role that technology plays, and I think also why we're here to explore that together. As Carolina said, I'm Emil and I'm part of the founding team of Actor. And so my way of kind of breaking this very short pitch, 5-6 minutes, is into like these kind of overall like why we're building Actor and what is it, of course, and how are we building it. So just to start from the just very short, like kind of what is the why. So I actually started off as a research project back in 2019, being involved in sort of like grassroots organizing myself. I felt a lot of sense of frustration in understanding what is essentially like the various needs. And we spent a lot of time collecting together, understanding, okay, for networks and organizations and others, there's definitely challenges with culture, value norms, but there was also like this lack of infrastructure. So to summarize that, and not to kind of dive into all that, which could be a keynote in itself, is that we saw there's a lack of organizing capacity. So with more members that there is, maybe some of you know this graph, the more members there is in a group, the more complex and more sort of dialogues there are. And this is a screenshot of one of my Discord. It gets very, very messy and information overload appears quite often. The second one is about people endangered by the tools they use. Of course, it's not so much here in Denmark or in Europe as much as it is in the global south, but where it's sort of like it's a very big and important issue. And the last thing is about so disconnected and fragmented between movements, networks working on the same things. So what is ACT and how have we sort of translated that? We like spend a lot of time mapping kind of what does the current tech landscape look like, kind of looking between social platforms, collaboration platforms, and so on. And so kind of there's this space in the middle between, you know, messenger tools and these big suites like Google, Microsoft, but also others. And so we really try to understand like what is essentially the tools that we are trying to either replace or kind of like work together with. And the three overall kind of question we have been kind of asking ourselves and how we designed Actor is how can we increase capacity building and knowledge sharing? How can we improve the cross coordination and collective action between organization networks? And how can we sort of increase the mobilized and engagement? And to give you some concrete examples that kind of dive into the first part about how have we built Actor to increase sort of the capacity building. One of the things is like we also believe that chat in some ways is dead. So like only using WhatsApp or Telegram can work if you're a small group. But again, what happens when you're a larger network? And so with Actor, the new version that we're building now is mobile first. That's why like I'm going to use that as an example. Is now took Future Network as an example and said like how can we build in some organizing functionality where the network can embed important resources into the overview, the main overview of the network. It can both be files and it can be links, enabling networks to do kind of simple event organizing and even also to-dos. Of course, we can still go into the chat in the top menu and see the chats that is connected to a network. And what you notice here is like we've been working to how you can actually also connect conversations across communities. So in the first top two, you can see that that is just nested within the FITNet Global, while the bottom one, in this case, is called Festival Coordination. This chat or conversation is actually connected across 6 different spaces organizations. So that is something like we've been working a lot to kind of figure out. And for example, then dive into conversation where you have all the functionality that you expect. Then the second part about sort of the organizing capacity is that how can we build Actor to support what we call modularity? So as you start off with a network, you maybe only need to have a space, upload like some resources and have a conversation. But so besides having these 3 main functionalities, then we kind of like in the settings of your network, you can go in and as you need it, so as complexity is needed, you can enable kind of more functionality. But it's again like kind of building on this, keeping it very simple to begin with, and then actually customizing it block by block to then enable more functionality. As you see in the top, you have now more tabs with events, to-dos, calendar, and so on. That is really important to not overwhelm organizations and networks. The second part about sort of how to improve cross-coordination and collective action is trying to really understand how can we make Actor mimic or like mirror the reality. So in this example, like typically a lot of networks can either be connected to others, like being networks, and how do we create a hierarchy or structure that can enable that? And to give you an example is that if you're on the overview, in this case, tab, and you go under connected spaces, is what we call groups, you can actually see that the FITNet Network Global is kind of like under the parent, which is the FITNet universe. So like a higher level, you can say network or networks, but there's also networks within FITNet Global, which could be FITNet Brazil, Argentina, or FITNet India, and even also be able to recommend other, maybe not directly sort of collaborating, but maybe some other networks that FITNet Network Global wants to recommend. And sort of like doing this by being able to actually customize your own hierarchy and how things are connected. And basically you can nest that endlessly depending on if you have 1, 2, 3 or multiple layers within the network. The last part of sort of like the coordination and collective action is interoperability. And I think as Margaux talked about, like we don't want to create a new silo and then if you have Signal, you can respond if you're from WhatsApp. But because we are building something called the Matrix protocol with a new version, that's exactly what you can do. So through something called bridging, and this is a feature that we released in the autumn, so we don't have it fully fledged yet, but essentially a technology that already exists in enabling people to respond from the Slack, from the WhatsApp, so write, read, and send messages from the preferred messenger account if they want to, before like they have to be forced into Actor. Or unless they want to get fully end-to-end encrypted and so on. So that is a separate feature that I think is going to be connecting a lot into the current ecosystem. The last part about sort of how to increase effective mobilize engagement. Maybe some of you are familiar with the Orbit model, but it really sort of in a simple graph says that in the center of network, you have the mission or why you're working together or something. And maybe around that, you have the leaders, the organizers who are coordinating meetings. It could be someone like Carolina from the FIT network. And then gradually you have the newcomers all the way out into the edge of the network who maybe just have joined and sort of more passive observers. And while the inner ones are really trying to how you can create impact, maybe one of the objectives from the outer rings is to get people more engaged. And so that's something we've explored a lot, like how do you engage more people into network? And so one of the things that actually works well from social media, even though there's a lot of things that doesn't work well, is sort of like visual representation. And so what we created with Actor is kind of separating conversation from important updates. So here, like an admin of the FIT network can actually create the most important updates. So it could be, hey, we have created a new event, we have created a new group or something. And there's a user can like people that only come in maybe once a week or once a month, they don't have to scroll through a lot of chat or to understand what is going on. They can actually go in and they can see these are the most important things, and there's a direct call to action. So it's not just consumer, it's actually like a way to directly sort of engage how you kind of want to step into becoming active in network. I think time is running fast. I think the last part about sort of the how, going briefly, very briefly over that. So what we, Bob, sort of like the other question in terms of what we want to do, we've also been asking how again not to become part of the problem, how can we avoid these silos that become a silo in ourselves, and also how do we ensure the security and data. And so in very brief, Actor is trying to not only build like the platform, but also governance structure around it. So that's why we're an association that is democratically governed. And we are building sort of, again, on the matrix protocol that is fully end-to-end encrypted. So Actor can actually support people that are working on sensitive topics also in the global south. And the last part about so really making sure that we don't become part of the problem is doing co-design. So we actually co-design Actor with a lot of grassroots networks and NGOs around the world. And that is the next version that we are releasing here, starting to test in a month. That is kind of like the third version of Actor. So yes, a brief summary. I'm not going to read them up, but you can, I think, see on the screen. Overall, it's about protecting people that works on social change, enabling sort of better collective action. And yeah, I hope to see you in the breakout session.
Thank you so much, Emil. As always, please feel free to leave your comments, your thoughts on the chat section so that Emil can have a look. If there's anything you'd want him to clarify on, this is your chance to do so, and also share your reactions to his presentation as well. Thank you so much again, Emil, for that. I'll just go ahead and ask Carolina to just introduce our next speaker.
Okay, I am getting kicked out literally every time that we change speaker, but coming back just at the right moment. So next, we have Ana Jamborcic, and I hope I did not butcher your lovely last name, who is the product strategist at Socialroots and has spent the last 7 years studying how networked coalitions form and can scale. And she has also worked as a product manager on the Bernie Sanders campaign, specifically on the digital volunteer organizing platform, connectberniesanders.com, and several other tools that actually increased the primary vote turnout a lot. And adding to that, there's 10 years of experience in software product strategy and management. So excited to see what you've been doing with Socialroots. Anna, please take it away.
Awesome. How's the sound? Is it okay? Okay. So thank you guys so much for taking some time out of your day to talk to us. And everybody here, it's really cool to see all the aligned projects and just a lot of really similar insights. So I'm Ana. I started in software right out of college, and basically did environmental software, and I was really environmentally driven. And then at some point, I kind of started to realize what a lot of the network coordinators realize, which is these problems are really self-organization problems. We can't solve anything if we can't figure out how to self-organize. So in 2016, I ran into this in the Bernie Sanders campaign, like mentioned, and I started asking the question of why doesn't any existing tool solve this? Why doesn't Slack or Facebook or any of the things that were out there actually solve this problem? And I did an in-depth kind of analysis for a few years, and then that enabled me to make a proposal to the NSF Small Business Innovation Research Grant. And we got a grant in 2018 to do a prototype and to do like an understanding of what are the network's structural needs and how, like, what's preventing people from coordinating right now. In 2021, we got awarded another grant to actually make the platform from that research. And basically, this is our core team. We are a worker-owned co-op, and we have an extended team as well of people who are working in this problem space. We have a network of advisor members who are actively contributing to helping us understand how to do this ethically and how to do this sustainably. We're also actively working with academic institutions that are focused on teaming and governance issues. And we chose to be a worker-owned business so that we can provide a data commons to our users, because that was one of the most important things that they asked for. And basically, the way that we build product is we really, we've done like over 500 interviews with network community members to truly understand what features to build and how to build them and what they're going to get out of it before we start. I guess I'll just run into this. Oh yeah, I just also wanted to say, we are also very much in private beta. So we are not launched. So I'm sharing this information with you guys as an early community of like-minded people who are working on these problems, partly because I want other people to like join us. If you're fascinated by our approach and you think you want to, because we have a skeleton of a beta now, but we want to build on top of that, and a lot of that is going to be determined how people direct us. And we also want to do kind of a horizontal scaling model so that as we grow as a platform, our partners and our community members can build on top of us whatever they want. So if you are interested in joining us, this is a link. You feel free to shoot me a form, send it my way. Okay, so this is the beta platform. Basically, the main concept is that we figured out from years and years of study is basically most tools out there don't center the group. So you have to have full permissions at all layers of the group. So what we did is we created an architecture that really enables you to have nesting of fully functional groups. So there's subgroups. These are the subgroups of the nature network. So this is the group. And then there's also groups of groups. So there's the ability to go up one level and connect across organizations and network within a vetted space. And each layer has its own like nuanced decentralized permissions, and each layer can communicate with all the other layers across groups through notes. And basically, this is a note container. So I sent this note to the Nature Network and the Birdwatchers Network. And this is a demo environment, so this isn't real data, but you can have anywhere from a few, like a 10 to 10,000 people in a note. And this note is completely email integrated. So everybody that's involved can see this container without logging in and reply and interact with it. So for example, this came to my email box. I can interact with it. And then if I start to engage, it'll just open up the whole container. I don't have to log in, and I can see what everyone is doing, what they said. I can reply. I can see everybody in the conversation. I can see if they read something, if they committed to doing something. And I can also mute it. I can increase the volume or decrease the volume of how much I'm involved in the conversation. It's always muted by default unless I start to engage. And then if I start to engage, I'll get occasional updates, like a daily update, if there's new activity in the conversation. So there's this kind of ability to stay in the group that you're in. So if I'm in the Nature Network, I can stay in the nature network, but still have a conversation across the bird watchers network, as well as whatever subgroups I include in the conversation, if that makes sense. And then the other thing is, like, because all of my groups and containers are autonomous, so each one of these groups is a autonomous space. It's not like Slack where it's channels within one group. Each one of these groups is its own private autonomous network. People can start their own space and still kind of engage with each other. But any group or subgroup that I happen to be in, all of the conversations show up for me in one place, and I can filter by whether, you know, it's something that needs my attention, or if it's something that is like a specific category of activity. So that's kind of the gist of it. This is definitely, again, like the skeleton of the intention of the platform, because of our focus was really on making the architecture scalable for networks of networks and understanding how to make sure that the communication is seamless across groups of people. So anybody interested in trying this out with us and giving us feedback, or excited to just nerd out about this with me, please just use the link I put into chat.
Okay, perfect. Can we see some reactions for Ana as well? Lovely. Okay, so we are a little bit short on time, so I'm gonna move to our next speaker and platform, and I'd like to welcome Tibet Sprague, who identifies as a communitarian since birth, a technologist for good, and an evangelist of the more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible. He has been an entrepreneur since college and founded and led software teams for 5 different startups. And then when he saw the effect of the corporate industrial complex destroy everything, he co-founded the Terran Collective to figure out how to do this in a different way to allow humans to cooperate. And they've been working on Hylo, which is what we're going to take a look at now. So go ahead, Tibet.
Thank you so much. Yeah, really great to be here with so many like-minded folks. And I think you're going to see a lot of similar themes in Hylo. I'm looking at actor and Socialroots, and even, Superhive. So I'm going to just jump right in because we have not that much time here. I'm not going to walk through this whole presentation, but I will share it in the chat. But one of the things we call Hylo is a pro-social coordination platform. So it's not just social network, it's not just social media, it's really about how do we coordinate activities to do the impactful work in the world that's needed right now to kind of heal and regenerate our communities and our planet. And pro-social is this word that means behavior that is beneficial for the whole, for the cooperative, basically. So we're working with researchers who've done a lot of work on how do groups cooperate well? How do we help kind of foster, enable, activate pro-social groups? And so that's one of our kind of core principles. So we are nonprofit, open source social platform, community platform for purpose-driven groups built to evolve a culture of stewardship. And so really for us, it's about how do we all take co-responsibility for our communities, for the planet, and again, kind of coordinate our activities in a distributed, more emergent, decentralized way. So I'm actually just going to jump right into the platform because we're pretty far along. We have really focused on establishing the foundations of a community platform, all the core communication tools that you might see in a Facebook group or a Mighty Networks, or even a Slack or a Discord, because we want this to be easy for communities to come into from these other platforms and not missing kind of core features they're used to. And then I'll talk a bit about kind of where we're going on top of this foundation. But just to quickly run through where we're at. So this is a awesome organization that recently moved to Hylo. Many of you probably know Zebras Unite. They're an amazing kind of co-op of co-ops, a big network of organizations that are trying to do things differently. So, we have this kind of familiar stream of posts with images and formatting and emoji reactions and nested comments, at tagging, links, kind of all the core things you would expect in a community platform. Here you can see that Krisha is a host of this community. So we have kind of the beginnings of roles and badges that recently rolled out. We have our different views over here. The Explorer view gives you an overview of kind of recently active members, open requests and offers, upcoming events. Project view, there's not a lot different about projects right now. They're kind of just another post type, but there's a lot we want to do here. Upcoming events calendar, member directory, and then, as Emil and Ana have been talking about, we also have what we call our holonic architecture of kind of infinitely nested groups, enabling kind of networks of networks. And so Zebras has all of their chapters. They have the member co-op for people that are members of their co-op. And you can see inside here, there's other groups as well. The other way that Hylo is already unique is we have different post types. So we have requests and offers, resources, projects, and events. And similar to Socialroots and also Actor, you can post a single post to multiple groups at the same time and create this kind of shared node of conversation and connection instead of having to, copy and paste it to a bunch of different Facebook groups or Slacks or Mighty Networks. One of our fun taglines is, it's not another silo, it's Hylo. So, as opposed to a Mighty Networks where you have every group in its own little world or Slack, you have all your groups in one place, you have your unified notification stream, you can cross post, you can connect groups, any group can kind of request to join other groups, and there's different access settings, privacy settings, and accessibility settings. Let's see, what else did I want to show? We also do have, the other core thing that is really important to us is place-based connection and coordination. So every group has a geographic map where you can see people and posts and groups. You can view by different map layers. We recently added native territories as a map layer, and we really want to start connecting groups to place and actually have a whole scope of work that we're excited about around bioregional coordination. So creating place-based groups in a landscape where people are working together to steward shared resources well together. But of course, so there will be this whole bioregional groups that we work on, but at the moment, any group has this geographic layer, which is a really powerful way to find each other, find projects and asks and offers. We do have a public map, so you can kind of see what's going on across the platform around the world, find groups to connect with and get involved in, as well as a public group explorer. One of our kind of niches or networks that we're very connected to is Open Team, the Open Technology Ecosystem for Agricultural Management. So we've actually been working a lot with farmers and land stewards and have some custom functionality for connecting with farms and ranches, and want to connect farms with each other. And so that's a particular area of interest and excitement for us. What else did I want to show? So, as you can see, there's a lot of different platforms that are working on similar things. And so one of the other projects that we steward is called the Collaborative Technology Alliance. Vincent's going to be presenting next. Catalist is part of this. Emil has dipped in and out, and I know Nestor was maybe going to present here, and so they're a part of this. And so we're trying to figure out how do all of these platforms actually weave together? How do we create interoperability and collaboration across all of these folks working with similar visions? And I think finally I'll show you, we're using this platform ourselves for our sociocratic organization of Hylo. And so here's our kind of general circle internal group. We have these custom views over here that show our backlog of topics we want to discuss coming up. open proposals, which we just use emoji reactions to vote on. We don't have any of those right now. Links out to our collaborative meeting notes because we don't yet have collaborative documents. And then we recently added topic-based chat rooms. And so we have a kind of like Slack-like view as well for, if people want to come in and add quick chats instead of creating a whole post. We're trying to kind of bridge all the different modalities that people like to communicate with and offer different options here. So, and you can see, within the group, we have these different roles. So I'm a developer. I'm also the facilitator of this particular group. So yeah, I think maybe the last thing I'll show is my home, where you can see all the posts that I've created. There's one about the Networks Festival. Posts that I've interacted with and been mentioned in announcements across all my groups. So this is kind of the inbox area. We also do have chat, individual and group chat, search. We just launched our ability to translate into different languages, which is very exciting, starting with Spanish. And we have an iOS and Android app as well. That's kind of the rapid fire demo. I will invite people into this community on Hylo, which is where we kind of talk about building Hylo. If people are interested in getting involved and participating, I'll also share this deck around. There's a lot more information here about our vision and our community, our project. And yeah, would love to connect with any and all of you. You can just go to hylo.com and create a group right now. We're happy to jump on a call and kind of guide, support through onboarding if that's something people need support with. And yeah, we'll stop there. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Tibet. And I see Nadia sharing some reactions. So everyone, please show some love for what you've just seen. And since we're running out of time a little bit quickly, I'll jump right in and introduce Vincent Arena, who is an engineer, systems designer, and social entrepreneur. And he's the founder of Catalist, which is a great connection platform that is providing community knowledge management, mapping, and matchmaking services to all sorts of networks that are trying to build a more regenerative and equitable future. Please, Vincent, go ahead.
Thank you, Carolina. And I'm going to not do slides and keep it short so we can save time. So like Carolina said, Catalist is a connection platform. Our main focuses in the last few years have been supporting events and conferences, online and in-person communities, and also various initiatives that are doing knowledge mapping work. So we handle lots of large databases, and a lot of the tools that we've built have been out of frustration of seeing all these different initiatives not having more coordination across them. And so we've been trying to build technologies, both Catalyst, the platform, but also different protocols and tools to be able to share data across different networks, across different platforms, and also across the different cultural languages. And so I'm going to show you guys some examples of what I'm talking about. So the core of how Catalyst organizes information is that there are spaces, and within those different spaces, there are different objects. So this is a space for the Network Festival that we created. Happening right now is the demo sessions. And basically every space can be customized, kind of similar to what Actor was saying with different modules. So we have happening now pinned objects, different tracks, agenda. These are all modules that are suggested for a space that has an event type. And so essentially each space can be customized. This is another space that we're working on with GaiaNet. And this isn't an event, but instead it's an ecosystem map. And so the ecosystem map on their homepage just has an about and some comments, but their focus has been on mapping out all of the different projects in the GaiaNet ecosystem. And so clicking on any one of these projects opens up a window where you could basically interact with that project further. So on the left, it'll kind of give you the ability to look at the website. And then on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see the metadata. So this has been tagged with different sectors. And then you can also add your own either public comments or private notes to have a sort of layer over the ecosystem map. A lot of times, like I'm looking at a Kumu and I see someone I want to reach out to, or I look at a directory website and I'm like, oh, I want to take action on this. We're trying to make it really easy to create actionable information where you can, tag or bookmark something for later, and you don't get overwhelmed by the information in a map, but that you have the actionability to do something with it later. The other thing that we've been focusing on is this ability to be able to take the same process of curation and basically visualize that information in lots of different ways. So you can see that ecosystem map on a geographical map, but you could also just see it as a sort of directory. We also have built integrations with a lot of different other platforms to be able to view it in different ways. And we have translations on translating data from like a directory or a database into like a graph database. So this is an example of this is an integration with Kumu, where you can see all the same exact data that is in the physical map, and it gets visualized here in Kumu. And any changes that you make will sync as well over to Kumu. And then, of course, we have just like galleries or spreadsheets, and these views for each different space can be customized so that you get the views that make sense for what you're working on. Here's an example of another conference that we just helped host. It was the University Innovation Fellows. And so this had some modules to feature different speakers, the different in-person venues, and essentially being able to say, okay, I want to look at this in terms of a spreadsheet, and then I want to see only the events, or I want to see only the events that are tagged with a certain location or sector. And so we're combining kind of aspects of Airtable, where you have a directory of information that can have lots of different fields. And we actually have an Airtable integration where you could sync your data with a sort of spreadsheet, but then have all these additional ways to view and interact it and make it more of a social network instead of just a database. Because I keep seeing people collecting all this valuable data, and then it's not actually, it's just getting stuck somewhere in a Google Drive or in a spreadsheet. The last thing, so anyone can go on to the Network Festival and check out the calendar. We're also going to have videos of the sessions up after the different events have finished. So right now, I think there's a few sessions that have recordings where you can click on the event and then you can watch the recording. And then while you're watching the recording, you can also take notes or add comments. So this becomes a sort of social way of going back and revisiting what has happened in past events. I didn't get to add all of them, but I did end up adding Superhive and Actor as resources on the Network Festival space. So if you wanted, you guys can go and check those out, or add comments or notes. So this is, part of using the platform in action for doing mapping during an event. And we also have the ability to do things like pull information from chat files. So for example, Superhive, I went in and added some private notes. I said to connect Margaux to Jordan, and then to dive deeper into Superhive. And so this is how I would use this during an event, is to keep track of the different people, resources, and sessions. And then this data can be shared across different networks as well. So if I went to GaiaNet and I typed in Catalist, so this is a project, and I can take this and I can say, okay, actually, I want to add this into the Networks Festival. And so I can either add it, move it, or copy. So if I add it, then this is going to create a link where this object is now in two different spaces. So that's kind of how we're doing the cross-network interoperability. I touch a little bit on the cross-platform. And the last thing, and I'm going to end this in about a minute, is we've been curating the sets, the categorization sets of how we've seen different social impact groups categorizing information online. So these are, we have about 123 sets right now. So these are frameworks like the Sustainable Development Goals, the 4D dimensions, 6 forms of politics. So we've mapped all of these different ontology systems onto each other. So that way, information that is tagged with one specific set of data can be translated into another set. So that way you can allow one group to use the Sustainable Development Goals, another group to use the Wheel of Co-Creation. And then we've sort of created our own framework that at a very high level lets you map all of these together. So if you went into the regenerative economy sector, this sector relates to 20 or 30 other sectors across different sets. And you can also see all the information and the spaces that have been tagged with that sector. So being able to have the public data that is coming out of these different spaces be able to be shared across different categorization systems, and then allow, for example, a platform like Hylo that wants to take in public data tagged with, SDG 17. We're working right now, like Tibet said, on the CTA ecosystem map and integration with murmuration. So you can basically, we're going to have it set up where your space could have all of your data be added publicly to murmurations, and then platforms that are using that protocol would be able to pull that information onto the platform that you're building. So essentially, I'm happy to answer more questions in the breakout. I know this is probably a lot, and yeah, really grateful for this whole session and hearing the other amazing platforms. So yeah, thanks everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Vincent, and please show Vincent some love as well while I'm explaining the breakouts. So I'm gonna open up 5 breakouts right now, and when you move into them, you are able, if you go to the bottom of your screen and click breakouts, you should be able to see the names of the platforms and the names of the speakers. So you can just move yourself into them. And if you have any trouble, please ask me and I will help you move into them.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed it. Carolina is just setting the mood with some music. Carolina, maybe you can reduce the volume a little bit. It's not the time to dance, actually, Vincent. You're very right. Let's see those moves. Come on, don't be shy. Move your head, move your hands, wave, up in the air. Big wave. Down low. Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks so much, guys, for everything. Really appreciate that. As we are winding down, I'm going to ask us to do 3 things. So this is your opportunity to really connect with anyone you want to. So please drop your email addresses. If you want to link up with someone directly, you can direct message them as well. So use the last few minutes we have to do that. And then also we do have a need. Sorry about that, guys. As I was saying, yeah, please share your email addresses. If you'd like to link up with someone directly, go ahead and just DM them. And then also, please, if you want to the poll that we have, the closing poll, the link is there as well. Please do that. This will help us to be able to see how we can improve on the session. Then finally, you can click onto our needs and markets. To our needs and markets. Sorry, I've just been sharing this to Carolina. You can click on our needs and offers marketplace and just let us know that some of the things that you need. It's a wonderful place to connect with individuals who can be able to provide some tools and resources that would be useful. And as well, if you do have some other tools or information that you'd like to share with others within the network and outside the network, the marketplace is the perfect opportunity to do so. So we'll take just the next 1 minute to be able to do that. Yeah, there are the links there for the Mentimeter for your closing remarks, and also the offers and needs marketplace. And before you leave, please remember to tell us goodbye. Just open your mic and yeah, just tell us goodbye in your language, whichever it is. Swahili, Kenya, we say kwaheri for goodbye. Thankful so much to Carolina. Thankful so much to Emil, Tibet, Margaux, Ana, to all of you for sharing your wonderful platform, to Vincent. Really appreciated all the wonderful work that you've put into your presentation. I want to see areas of collaboration that we can explore together. Thank you so much for sharing your email addresses. Really appreciate that. Yes, and yeah, I just want to thank each and every one of you for participating fully today and making this an interactive session as possible. So I only can wish you a lovely day. For those who are starting their days, I'm sorry about that. Hope it goes well. For those of us who are winding down, yeah, have a lovely night. And thank you, everyone. Kwaheri, Swahili, asante sana. I would like to hear some of your languages as well. So please open your mic. Tibet, how do you say goodbye from where you come from? Eva, how do you say goodbye? Roberto, how do you say goodbye? I want to hear them all. Madur, how do you say goodbye?
Bravo.
This is hi.
Buen día.
No.
Goodbye.
Mangtak.
I'll say
This is
peace out.
Shubhratri.
Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely, lovely day.
Bye.